Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Service Podcast. I am your host, Sister Stephanie.
I'm your host, Sister Sally.
And today we have our beautiful guest. This is our second guest on this podcast, and we're so excited to have you.
Sister
Juliette.
Sister Juliette.
Wait, I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you. I know Sally just did your hair, so you're obviously looking gorgeous.
You look fire.
The hair, guys, it's so fresh.
It's giving.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Sally, I love it. She comes to my house. We talk. We drink coffee.
Yes.
It's such a time.
I'm sure when you go to her house and you do her hair, it's almost like, damn, this is a podcast episode in itself because we're having such good conversation.
Girl.
Right?
Oh my God, she's always on like a meeting when
I'm
I'm
literally
there.
just thinking that.
So like, it's so interesting to me because like, I'm like, damn, this girl is a fucking boss.
Powerhouse.
Like,
yeah.
like
That's
I literally
so
like
funny.
listen to you and I'm like, the majority of the world who or your followers, I would say, don't know probably how much of a boss you are.
You can't really like explain the ins and outs of like a business, or like I'm not gonna like talk numbers on my Instagram, or I don't want to show too much when it comes to like the inner workings of everything. So it's kind of hard to follow that. I'm actually trying to like figure out how the best way is to keep people involved in that part of my life. But it's like I don't want to necessarily share all the collections I'm doing like 6 months before they drop, because right now I'm designing for 2024. So
Right.
like I'm in the thick of designing for July. But like I don't want to tell people that yet. So it's like kind of hard to keep people
Right.
Of course.
on their
So
toes.
for everybody who doesn't know, Juliette
Right.
has a swimwear brand and it's called JMP The Label.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's such a fire swimsuit brand.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. So since like our viewers may not know exactly what you're about, maybe you can tell us like what is your brand? Like
So swimwear. I was on a reality TV show called Siesta Key for 6-7 years.
Wow, it was
Yeah.
really that
that's a
long.
long time. She
Yeah.
like grew up on TV.
Get the fuck
Yeah, I'm
out.
still working through it.
Wow, that's
The
a long
trauma.
time. I
the
would've
trauma. I'm still.
I don't know anything about it. Just because whenever I watch TV, I'm like with my boyfriend. So when I want to watch my reality shows and stuff, it's like when I'm not with him, and I'm always with him. So I barely get those shows in, you know. But I thought maybe it was like a season. I don't know how any of that stuff works. But wow, 6-7
Yeah.
years. That's a
And
long
you're how
time.
old? 26?
I'm 26. So we
Your whole
filmed,
20s.
Yeah, like my whole. It ended in the beginning of this year.
Wow.
So I did the pilot when I was 17. And then I didn't really start filming the actual show because that's when it got picked up by a network, MTV, when I was 19. So then I was constantly filming after that. But basically, to get back to my company, I was always, on the beach in this show. The aesthetic was beach, love, romance, all that type of stuff. And I loved bikinis. I love fashion. I was always so obsessed with the best bikini. And I would like spend hours looking through the sites and trying everything out. I had like a collection of so many. All the other brands are gone now. It's just mine. I started.
Fire.
Yeah, it's just mine now. I haven't worn another bikini in probably 2 years.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's like the goal, like to just
Yeah.
have your own
And even like
shit.
the one time I did, I was like, I'm betraying myself. What am
Wow.
I doing?
Yeah.
So I started that in 2021. That was season 4 of the show, beginning of season or end of season 3. And almost 3 years in business, and I love it.
Congrats.
I love my baby.
That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a long
It's literally
time.
your
3
baby.
years.
It's my
Yeah.
baby.
So
I like think of she's literally like it's funny how you look at a company like a child. And I think
Yeah.
everyone that has ever owned a business or loves their career knows that.
Yeah.
You like protect
Yeah.
it. It's like
sure.
especially
It's like a
something
child.
like a swimwear brand and something that resonates so closely to you, like, and it does feel like your baby because you're growing as your brand is growing, and not only are you learning how to like be a businesswoman and do all this shit that like people don't realize how much goes into starting your own brand.
Oh yeah.
And as you do that and as the years go on, like, of course, like this is the most precious thing to me because I've grown up with this. I've incorporated it into my every single day life. And obviously you're promoting it on your socials, and it's just so much of you in this brand.
And it's an ever-changing industry. I think fashion, business in general, right? It's like you never know. You can't see the future. So you're constantly trying to predict and create, and it never stops. But it's like, that's what's so fun. Like like you don't see, there's an end goal, but you have to figure out how to get there. And I have such high hopes, but it's also really stressful.
Yeah,
Bitch, you're gonna do amazing. It's definitely, I mean, that's not to say it isn't stressful. I know just having your own business in general is stressful, but especially with a following and having to maintain and keep up with all of these other things, like it's a lot.
And that's kind of where I'm stressing now. Sally and I already had a therapy session today about it.
What, just balancing socials?
Well, yeah, like being so ever present on social media it kind of takes me back to where I felt somewhat violated in my personal life because I was on a reality TV show for so long. So it's almost like, I don't want to say traumatic, that's a little bit of a strong word, but it's difficult for me, and it makes me feel very anxious to be on social media so much and to even just create content in general. I just get this whole rush of like emotions I used to feel, where I feel like I'm out of my comfort zone and I feel too seen. And that's hard when I own a company and I want to stay relevant, in the sense that I want people to follow me and I want to have a following and a brand and all that, in order to keep my business alive.
Right.
So
for like your greater purpose.
For my greater purpose. But yeah, it just feels like I'm constantly kind of battling. It's hard. Being on Instagram is hard.
It is. And I do have to say, I mean, I don't have as big of a following as you do or anything, but it doesn't matter whether you have a couple thousand or a couple hundred followers and then a couple 100,000 or a million. Like, the thought of being perceived when you're trying to like not only protect yourself or like come off a certain way is a lot. Like, I get anxious from it, and I can only imagine having a million eyes on you.
I think that's what it is. I think it's you're in a constant battle of protecting your inner peace,
right,
versus creating a career.
Yeah.
And the problem with social media is it's hard to really separate business from personal life.
Yeah.
And I have not mastered that. Now, I have a lot of friends that are influencers, and they do absolutely amazing. But, you know, I speak with them about it, and you just have to put content out there and just like hope for the best. Like, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. You have to get out of your head.
And you have to like not let people's opinions bother you. Like,
well, this is where it comes from. And I was having a conversation with a girl that messaged me the other day. She was like, how do you record yourself and how do you do all these things? I'm like, literally, because I struggle with this too. It doesn't mean that just because I post content once in a while, even though I have my moments of really falling off because I struggle with the same thing, you literally need to not give a fuck about what anyone thinks about you. Let go of that. Not only because, seriously, who gives a fuck about what anyone thinks about you, but
it's holding you back.
It's holding you back. They're not paying your bills.
No.
It's not that serious at the end of the day. I even had to do that with this podcast. Like, it's not that serious. We're having conversations and it's good and it's great. Like, as long as, you know, I feel good in my personal life, like, who cares? You know, It's not like we're putting out content that's going to hurt anyone. Like, well, it's okay.
As long as it's like something that's like you are passionate about. We were talking about this
when you're
earlier.
true to you. Sally and I were literally just talking about this like 2 hours ago. I think if you don't try and put in that effort, you've essentially already failed.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep going and keep taking risks, like, you're never going to find your place. And then ultimately you do get comfortable. I'm sure you guys feel much more comfortable now in your podcast versus the first couple episodes.
And that's also to add a year before we even started this. Like, we wanted to do this for so long, and there's never a right time to do anything. So it's like, just do it. If you want to do it, just do it, and you'll become more comfortable in that.
It really takes discipline and consistency. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room or the hottest person in the room. It's being
I was
consistent.
having a conversation with a big influencer when I was doing her hair, who she's also starting her own like YouTube channel, whatever, where it's like more of her personality basically is what she's trying to portray, because right now she's a little more just for looks on Instagram, and she knows that, and she wants it to be more like her, you know, so this is a YouTube channel thing that she wants. And she was on the phone with a management company, and she was talking to them, and they were literally like, the hack to YouTube and to all social media is consistency. It doesn't fucking matter what you're posting. The fact is that you're posting every day, because you're saying fuck you to the algorithm
Mm-hmm.
because you're always going to be in there. You're always
Yeah.
going to be circulating. And then when you collaborate, this was another thing he was talking about. He was telling her, like, even though people see you as like only fans, because she does OnlyFans, that's her job. He was like, if you collaborate with like a few makeup girls and you post this and you guys all post this, boom, that's like, it's like the secret to the algorithm.
yeah.
And also
you know?
like refreshing your audience, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
that's
can
like,
become something else.
You definitely
You're not,
get stuck in a certain like demographic, I guess,
Oh,
on social
totally,
media. Like I
yeah.
have friends that are mostly posting for men.
Mhm.
And it's hard to, honestly get the brand deals that you want because, like, you can only sell so many things to men, right? You can sell sex, you can sell like some shaving stuff,
yeah.
you can
Yeah.
sell like certain things to men, but then it kind
Yeah.
of limits your options when it comes to brand deals. And then you're in a box where all you really can do is like sell sexual photos or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, once you're in social media, like finding your niche it's hard, but getting out of it's hard too.
It's like
Yeah.
harder now too, because when I started on Instagram 10 plus years ago, like, which sounds so crazy, I had a post blow up from Barstool, like, and I
Mhm.
wasn't even in college at the time, and that's where most of my following came from. So 90% of my following is men.
Yeah.
And then I wonder when I post like makeup content and stuff why it doesn't do so well, because these motherfuckers want to see tits and ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I'm the opposite. I'm literally 92% women.
I wish.
like,
That's like my goal.
crazy.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
It's
Which is
great.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
I
Yes.
I
Like-
love it. And I honestly have to remind myself this. Okay, so I went through a breakup 5 months ago. And then I kind of was like, how do I get guys to see me on Instagram again? And I'm like, wait, all of my followers are fucking women anyway. Who gives a fuck what
Mhm.
I post? So
Let me post a sexy pic in my bikini.
and it does
and it's all
well.
girls like, yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Do your
See, the
thing.
key for me, what's nice is though, like I can post a sexy pic in a bikini, but I'm also like a boss bitch because it's my bikini. And
It's
I'm
your
selling
Period.
it.
Yeah, and you should.
So
It
it's
gives you
not
incentive.
just like
A sexy pic.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
just a sexy pic, which
Mhm.
it kind of is sometimes. It is for that for me sometimes, but it also can go both ways. I'm like, but this is also for the girls.
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love having
Yeah.
like a purpose behind the content, and when it's for yourself,
Yeah.
bust that shit out, girl.
Yeah.
You should be posting all the time. I mean, it's so easy
Yeah.
to say that, and I tell anyone that I know who I think is amazing, and I mean, this goes for both of you sitting right in front of me, like, if you are consistent and if you really truly are just like unapologetically yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then it should become less hard
Mhm.
to fall into that trap of like posting, or do I like what I'm posting, or am I doing enough? Like, I get the anxiety of being present on social media. Like, it's
You know, and
really
honestly,
tough.
and like I'm so lucky that I am able to even have like this option, but I'm
Absolutely.
anxious to the point where I'm gonna have someone like edit my content.
Well,
for
because it's a
me.
lot of work. People don't understand. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she does social media for a living." Babe, this takes hours out of my day. This is
It
hard
does
work.
take a lot of work, but it's for me right now. It's a mental block, and I
Yeah.
think once I start putting out more of the content that I feel is like true to me, and I start getting back into it, like I kind of used to be, then I won't need someone to edit for me as much.
Right.
But like right now, I just kind of want to like send my stuff over to someone
Yeah.
and be like, you do it, send it to me.
Well, because I'm
here's the
sure your
money.
mind is busy like focusing on other things. So
Yeah.
the idea
Yeah.
and having that weight on your shoulders of, oh shit, I need to post, it's like exhausting.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a
is.
lot.
It's a lot. What were you, I'm just out of curiosity, because I know you and Sally have known each other for a long time, and I met you briefly at Sally's class or seminar event that we had a couple months ago. So this is like pretty much my first time like really meeting you.
really having a conversation.
Yeah, and I'm just excited to get to know you more. What were you, or what did you want in your life, and what were you doing before you were introduced to like reality shows and
so, you know, I never auditioned to be on a reality show. It was never like in the cards for me.
did they DM you one day or something?
So I'll tell you the story. So I was graduating high school. I was like a solid B student, right? I wanted to be a lawyer, just because I like that stuff, but I don't think I would want to be one now. Okay, so I really didn't have much of like I was 17. Like I didn't know.
I don't think
where I was
anyone
going.
really
Yeah.
knows what they want to do.
Right.
With their life at that
I went to
point.
college, majored in political science, and I started the show like during this. And
Oh,
I was-
really?
yeah, during college. So I was kind of dating this guy at the time. Not, I mean, dating is a loose word. And his dad was like, you guys should be on a reality show. Like, I'll hire
funny.
a camera crew to film a pilot. And they were like, come on, do it. And I was like, okay. Like, they kind of were like, you're going to be in it. And I was like, sure. And so they filmed like a day in our life. Like, you know, we would always go on boats. I grew up on boats. We would go to like house parties and clubs and like a ton of underage drinking. And we lived like the life. Like, I grew up in a wealthy town. I'm not wealthy
In Florida?
myself, but the city, yeah.
Okay.
It's called Sarasota. It's a relatively like rich city, right? So they filmed the pilot and I was like, this isn't going to go anywhere. Like, I had no idea where it would go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty successful. I mean, we did 5 seasons,
I was gonna say,
a long
boom.
time.
Absolutely.
It was
Yeah.
successful.
But it just happened, like, I still feel like I have a very difficult time like processing anything. So I don't know if I fully processed the show. I just think it was so much attention
Mm-hmm.
that like my brain, and I was like very shy and insecure in high school. Like I was telling Sally this earlier, like I am extroverted, but like not truly. Like
Mhm.
I'm very introverted to my soul, to
Like
my
your
core.
Mm-hmm.
But I can be very extroverted and like I can talk, I can have conversations, but like I was never fully comfortable with the fact that people were seeing me at my worst. I mean, that's
Yeah.
hard to wrap your brain around.
That's hard in general,
Yeah.
you know, like
Mhm.
extrovert or
I mean,
introvert.
having like a million people see you ugly cry
yeah.
is hard. I haven't seen most of the episodes and like I don't think I can.
I feel like you're like I think you posted something the other day where it was you kind of like ugly crying in the background of a photo.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Okay, there's this video of my best friend and I were out at the bar and she's like dancing, she's drunk. It's like a really funny video. And then the camera zooms into me in the background, just ugly crying.
Like,
Who was behind that camera that zoomed into your
one of
face?
my friends, Drew, and next to me was like my ex-boyfriend. We were
That is
dating
so
at the
funny.
time, and like I was mad at him about something. He was probably like flirting with a girl. Made me cry at the bar. It was just a fucking average day in the life. And I look back at it now and laugh, but like, because I was so young then, so I
Mhm.
give myself grace for sure. But at the time, and even because I just stopped filming the show, I look at things and I'm like, that is so fucking embarrassing. And like, I want to be so poised and strong and cool. And I'm just fucking not. Like, I lost my shit on a girl on Saturday. Like, I pulled some reality TV shit. I found out a girl hooked up with my ex-boyfriend and she was like kind of a friend of mine.
Your
And-
ex-boyfriend 5 months ago,
yeah.
ex-boyfriend?
So my like recent ex-boyfriend, I found out a girl and she was kind of my friend. Hooked up with him.
No, girl.
I know. And
Messy.
I am drunk and I hear this and I just start screaming profanities, not at her.
You guys were in the same place.
Yeah, she
You're in a
came,
restaurant.
she walked in, and this was the problem. One of my guy friends, like we saw her walk in and he was like, oh, did you hear what she did the other day? And I was
Oh,
like, why would you
God.
tell me that, bro? He was on the show with me too. And I was like, you know how I am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I, again, like lost my cool. But I think that's why people really related to me very well, because I was just like unapologetically vulnerable and
Absolutely.
I could not keep my emotions.
The only
in.
way to relate to people and have people actually like resonate with you and like you, because that's what makes someone like someone on
Yeah.
reality shows or on Instagram, is when they're relatable. So you ugly crying or reacting however you react in a shitty situation, yeah, you want to come off poised as much as you can. I think everyone sees you as that. But you're a human being, bitch,
Mhm.
and you're a girl, and you're
Yeah.
going through life, and you're in your 20s. Like, shit's
Yeah.
gonna happen, you know? So, like, I appreciate the ugly cries. I appreciate when
Oh
you
my
freak
And I
out.
think
gosh,
I think
yeah.
also like at the end of the day, it's a TV show, and like whether it's real or not, you don't want to see someone like not have a reaction to something that should affect them.
Yeah.
So the girls that did act like they didn't care, it's like you're gonna get no camera time.
Mhm.
Like be real
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
show, or at least talk about how you really feel, even if you can't cry or you don't cry or you're embarrassed to. Like you have to somehow open up, or else why are you on TV?
Right.
Because it's like that's not cool if you see. You want drama, and then if people just act like it doesn't bother them, it's like that was anticlimactic,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know.
Well,
and
and,
for
like,
me, I never was like
drama is like being yourself and being confrontational. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like somebody who's not confrontational. Like everybody always is like happy about being, I'm not a non-confrontational person. Well, I'm
Yeah.
confrontational because I'm passionate.
And that's why they liked me.
Yeah.
Because I'm
And that's
a
why I have 6
psycho.
to 7 seasons.
Yeah,
and this
and
is
that's
why
why
I
I was
grew
paid
up
the
like
most,
this.
okay?
Period. Yeah, so there's
For the
no
people in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no I would say like it's only beneficial to you to carry yourself
But
the
you
way
see
that
how
you
that's a
have.
double-edged sword, though.
Of
Because
course.
it would tear me apart
Mm-hmm.
inside.
And it was probably hard for you to like
And it
watch.
was also always provoked, right? Like a lot of the issues that happened would have never happened in real life. So it just felt like, why was I always in these situations and why would they always put me there? And I knew why, right? It's part of the job.
right.
And I knew that I had to be like that, but I didn't want to be, and it would
Yeah.
affect my relationship. So it was very mentally exhausting. I mean, I couldn't do like anything else other than the show. Like it was very hard to do anything for my swimwear line during filming times. I just like couldn't. It would drain me. Especially we would also film like parties on like Tuesdays. So I'd be like wasted on a Tuesday and it would suck.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I can't get
definitely
anything
hard.
done around here.
Wow.
Still working through it, I think. A lot of things lately I've been like really trying to process. A lot of stuff that I feel like I pushed back. And I think that's one of the things I tried to go to therapy, didn't really work. So I maybe will try to do that again, or I'm going to try to work through it myself.
Do you think it
we're gonna
didn't
figure it
work
out.
because you weren't with the right person or because...
Probably. And I need a therapist who asks me questions.
Right.
Like you have to read the room as a therapist, I believe. And, therapists can attest to whatever. But I need someone to pull it out of me.
Yeah.
Like especially when I'm in therapy, like I don't want to talk every time I'm at a session. So you have to do your job and like get it out of me.
Oh, I agree 1,000%.
I hate when they're like, so what's going on? Okay.
Well, we say this even in our podcast because these episodes are somewhat like therapy sessions. That's why we wanted to start this in the first place. And we really quickly realized that the only way to have conversation and get things out of you that you weren't planning on speaking on or whatever the fuck is to ask questions and to get people to like open up about things that they don't even know that, they want to speak about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So of course,
and I think it helps with realizations. I mean, I honestly had a realization the other day where I'm like kind of talking to a guy, and the more I'm talking to him, I'm like, I don't think I can be in a relationship right now. Whereas before I started talking to him, I was like, I want a boyfriend, I need to get back out there. And I'm like, I am not in the place.
What was the longest you've been single for? Like, what was the longest time period? Let me ask you this. The last boyfriend that you had 5 months ago and you had a bad breakup, how long were you guys together for?
Like a little under 2 years.
Okay, because me and Sally talk about this all the time, how our
like a year and a half,
our intimate relationships have so much to do with like who we blossom into and who we become.
I put too much of
him.
Myself into any relationship. It takes away from just myself.
Yeah.
Completely. And I honestly, when we broke up, it was like a very abrupt breakup. I didn't understand how much of my life was intertwined with him. I think we were just together a lot, and a lot of my days were spent just about him or with him. And that was the case with my boyfriend before. However, my boyfriend before him and I was only single for 2 months in between them. So I was really in a relationship for like 4 years.
Wow.
And before that, I was single for like 7 months.
And you
6
were
months.
young at the time.
Yeah.
So really
and I was filming
to like
be Juliette.
You haven't really had a chance to be you by yourself and focus on you.
I know.
I think a lot of females fall into that cycle, and I can even relate to you because I'm definitely like that in my relationships where I like prioritize my relationship and like want to be with my man all the time, and
which is normal because this is how we are.
Naturally, right?
As women.
Yes.
And I think it's situational too. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing as long as you have a good balance. Like that's okay.
Yeah, and I don't think it was. I mean, my relationships were unhealthy for sure, but I think that I did have a good balance. I just was so unaware that like I had lost a lot of myself in him.
Yeah.
and I was acting certain ways and feeling certain ways towards other things because of him.
Mm.
And I didn't realize how that was affecting me. And same with the guy before that. I mean, the guy before that, we broke up because he was upset that I started a business essentially.
Jealous.
And was like, I didn't have enough time for him anymore. And
was he the guy that you were dating on the
On
show?
the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one whose dad was like, we need to get this pilot.
And that was
season,
the one
no?
before him.
Oh, okay. So she's had boyfriends, and she's. I've
had like 3 serious.
three. I
boyfriends,
mean,
yeah.
you know, you're in your early 20s. Like that makes sense. A lot of us are dating around,
Mhm.
trying to see
Yeah.
what we like and what we don't like, and you learn so much from these relationships. So it's never a bad thing. No
Mhm.
experience that you go through
Is
whether
bad.
it be the show,
Although
your
like
relationships.
now I'm like so weird about relationships. Like I really don't want to get into a relationship unless I'm like very ready and obsessed with him. Like, because I was kind of just dating to date before, I think. But then I'm like, I just keep going back and forth in my head, like, or, you know, the guy I'm like kind of talking to right now, he's so sweet to me.
Mhm.
But I'm like,
Ew.
ew. No.
I know how you feel.
I'm like, am I the
like
problem?
you're like good off men, but like if Prince Charming comes along and sweeps me off my feet and he like requires or meets all my requirements, then I'll be interested.
Yeah.
But you also know that too, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like the whole like little bit of like is definitely not something to ignore.
Yeah.
I know.
The-
I
No,
just,
but it's-
I think it's me though. Like I think that realization has
probably
made me
is.
realize like maybe I'm just not ready. I don't know.
Well, it's like anything in life. You're never going to be ready. Like when I met my boyfriend, it was like a random ass fucking day. And I was in the mindset of like, I'm good. Like, no thanks. Any guy that I saw was like, you're a joke. And
Yeah.
keep it moving. I'm not the
Yeah.
one. And then, you
Same.
know, it happens. But I think that these things happen and they happen in a better way for you when you are just focused on yourself
yeah.
and working on yourself, which you are. And, you know, you have your business to focus on and like where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. Now they're all gonna fall in love with me when I don't.
Period.
Well,
Want
that's
them.
the thing,
As
though.
they should.
I will say that happened to me. Like, I feel like I had
Yeah.
a bunch of guys who were like lining up to date me. Like, here's
Yeah.
my resume,
Mhm.
and then poof, Aiden popped out of the sky,
Yeah.
and I was literally
he like just moved to Miami.
I was literally like, nah, I'm good. And the only reason why I even looked in his direction was because my friend was like, okay, like he's cute. Come on, like
Yeah.
stop being such a like bitch.
I know. Like, do I need okay? So I'm gonna have my friends meet this guy. And I'm gonna like, I need their opinion.
Yeah,
But
why
is that
not?
like so fucked up of me?
No,
No, because your friends know you.
Your friends
they
know you.
your core,
Yeah.
and they're gonna know like what you need out of
Yeah.
a partner, and if he could be the one, or if you know, sometimes like if I'm even with a friend, my mom somewhat gets to know that friend, like she'll be able to be like
Immediately.
they immediately know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
also think
Yeah.
that like what you're attracted to is essentially like a habit, and I think that I have been kind of treated like shit in the past, and I somewhat gravitate towards toxic because that was literally my job,
Mm.
and it's kind of like all I've ever known.
Toxic in what ways?
Like it needs like a lot of games at first, or
Like the chase.
fighting.
I also
like
think
the
that stuff
chase.
changes with like age
Yeah.
too, you know, like there's a lot of games and a lot of fighting and,
and
stuff
I
when
don't-
you're in your 20s, like
Yeah.
especially if the guy is also like it's a lot.
And I don't think you should like relate that to this situation necessarily, because I don't think it's that you are like the only reason you don't like this. I shouldn't say don't like this guy, but like aren't necessarily sure about this guy is because he's not toxic or giving you the chase.
Yeah.
I don't think you should relate it to that, because it
Okay.
could just because you're not ready, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if he is a good guy, or maybe he's just not the right one. Like,
Yeah.
let's just call it for what it is. You know what I mean?
I really fucking hope he doesn't
Like,
hear this.
I mean, and if he does, it's okay.
We're just weighing out our options here, honey.
You know, like-
I mean, if you wanted me to be like
You're a
communicative,
prize.
this is how you do it.
You're a
Yeah.
prize.
Listen, babe, this is how I feel about you. Listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Just so you get a
I'm
better
trying to
idea
figure
of
it
how
out.
girls try to like navigate relationships.
Well, isn't that whole saying, you are what you attract? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like what you're putting out is what you're going to attract, you know?
I
So if
Yeah.
you're not your best version and you still feel like you have things that are, you know, maybe it isn't the right time, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
We're just gonna take it slow. This
Yeah,
is
take
the-
it
your
I
best
think
thing.
sometimes ignoring problems, then you'll like figure it out. Like I'm just gonna keep seeing him, see where it goes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. And whether it be a dub or this is your man for a little bit, you're going to learn stuff from this. And you're going to pick up on some things that you might need in the next partner or that you don't like. And that's just the way it goes, you know?
Yeah. But I will say, like, I'm like really happy in Miami now. I moved here about a little less than 2 years ago, and now I feel like I really found my home.
Yeah.
Like, I have a good solid group of friends. I have fun here. I love this city. I'm like such a fan.
Yeah, it's like
I love it here. I live on the
now.
beach now. Love it. It's the best.
You found your little like groove.
Yeah, I mean it's hard moving. I mean, you guys both moved too.
Yeah,
you guys really moved. I just moved across the state, but
moving in general is hard. But you know, just being in a new place and having to find your people and being single in a new city, it's a lot.
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of adjustments that go with that, and it's constant. It's
I moved here when I was dating my ex, and like I said earlier, like it was an abrupt breakup. So when we broke up, like I didn't realize, I was like, wait, I've never lived in this city without a boyfriend. And I was like, I have to like
completely different experience.
Yeah, I have to like
completely
navigate
different.
how to do this. And it's like everyone goes through it, but it's never easy. And it's like you're trying to get over the person, you're trying to ignore the person while also having to make new friends because your friend group's all intertwined, right? And then trying to just like figure out life with their absence. Like breakups suck. But this is a city to be single.
It is the city to be single, and it's also like every breakup I feel like I learned something new about myself that made me like so much better.
Even like when you break up, like when friendships break up, like it's all the same, you know, it's all a learning lesson. Like friendship breakups are just
almost
as bad.
worse.
I've had friendship breakups, but never ones that like I felt
rocked you.
Yeah, I mean I had one that was pretty bad, but it felt like we were never truly friends. So
I can
it didn't
I feel
like
like
hurt.
though, like with this past breakup with you, you really dove headfirst into your business afterwards. Like you were just like,
do you feel like that kind of fueled your like fire for the business?
Yeah. So I had a kind of a bad summer, to be honest. Like I definitely was focusing on work, but actually this is like so sad to admit, but like the girls will understand. I actually thought I had like a hormonal imbalance. Like I was so tired all the time and like I was so emotional. I did a swim week event and I got home and I just bawled my eyes out for like 4 hours, and my team was in town too, and they're like at my apartment. They're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like so deeply depressed. And I was like, there must be something wrong with me. Go to the doctor. Everything's completely normal. And I'm like, did that breakup just fuck me up that bad? It was hard.
Yeah.
But it's like, I kind of like thought I was fine at the same time, but like my body didn't. So like my mind was like almost like rejecting like the like despair I was feeling and the betrayal that I felt.
Yeah.
But my body was like, no, you're not okay.
Yeah.
So, and I like, that's fine. Like that is okay. Like it was kind of, you know, jarring to be like, wait, what do you mean my hormones are normal?
Yeah, you're like,
but like, I don't know, doctors make mistakes too. I feel better now, but like there was a time over the summer where I like could not get out of bed. I was just so tired.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I was so emotional and like I just couldn't be me. And kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Sally, or another time, like when it comes to swim week in Miami, which is like our Super Bowl, you have to be so social and so out there. And I am naturally like kind of very introverted. So that was like so hard.
Yeah.
And the introverts know when you have to go fake extrovert, it's so exhausting.
Yeah, you need like time to like recharge.
Yeah. So when you're going through like an emotional moment in your life and then you have to go be so extroverted and put on a big smile, it is so draining.
Well, not for nothing. Like you even sitting here right now and we're in October and saying that you had experienced this breakup 5 months ago, like that is still super fresh.
So fresh.
So at the time of swim week and when you had all of these things
I hope you
going
know
on,
that.
like
It's
that's
very
extremely fresh. I mean, listen, I would say 6 months is like when it's like
okay.
Yeah, it's like you're coming out of this and your body is reacting to this and it's a lot.
It's just tough because every breakup is different.
It
like
is.
my one before I was already mentally checked out, and it
So there's
didn't
a
hit me the
difference,
same.
Yeah.
And I guess I did start dating someone else very quickly after.
Well, and with this recent one, you were betrayed.
Yeah.
So it's it hits different.
Being betrayed
you know?
is one of those things that's like it rocks your world.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, everything that I thought this was just isn't. And like it's
Yeah.
a lie. I mean, I don't know the specific situation. And especially if your relationship was public on social media and I know you have a lot of eyes on you, like that
That's a
will
lot.
absolutely take a toll.
I think it all boils down to there was just such a lack of communication that we were just on two completely different pages and I didn't know.
Like in life or
in the relationship.
In the relationship.
Interesting.
In life too.
Yeah.
I mean, there were moments where he was just like, he made small comments about not wanting the relationship to be as serious as he felt that I did. And so it's like, it was just one of those things that really caught me off guard because we just never like spoke about our like true feelings, I think. And like I learned I've said this about that relationship before. I learned so much from a relationship in that. And like, I think I'm going to take a lot of lessons from that. So now I am hesitant because I have fucking boundaries.
Yeah.
Like I will not just jump into something
As you
just because I want to date. Like I'd rather be fucking single, have a bunch of guys around me giving me attention than have some fucking loser who's half-assed.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
For
Like now,
real.
and it's crazy because I am such a relationship girl. Like now I'm like,
am I?
I way rather have the attention. I rather have my guy friends flirt with me than have some fucking loser man on my own.
Yeah.
Well, I think like now in your life, because I think we've all experienced relationships that were kind of like not serving us or making us feel like not wanted or like, you know, I could go outside and get attention from whoever the fuck I want, but my man who I love and adore is making me feel like I'm like a fucking placemat.
100%.
And I think that that's almost necessary, you know, for when we do find the person that's right for us to know that like we have these boundaries now and like you're not gonna fucking cross them. So either you're gonna really love me and kiss the ground I walk on and vice versa. Like we should have that balance in a relationship, but I'm not gonna be with someone who isn't 1000% sure about me.
Yeah.
And I think that all of this shitty stuff that happened in your past relationships had to happen for you to find someone who is going to love
I think
and adore
I
you.
always thought that the perfect relationship would just come.
It will.
And that's just not how it is.
It will.
But
It will.
It will though.
It will.
But I thought it would be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think that a lot of anger gets built up towards like when you know, go through a bad breakup, but at the end of the day, like he's just a guy who, you know, I hope he learned something too.
Yeah.
And I have my moments where I'm like, fuck him, but at the same time I'm like, you know what? I learned a lot.
That's when you that's when you
That's
know
huge,
you've
though.
like kind of gotten
Yeah.
over that hump is when you can look at them and be like,
I mean, I still have my moments.
you're like,
I mean, I say this all the time, like from my abusive relationship, I can honestly say like I forgive him.
Yeah.
And I don't have any anger towards him anymore.
and how long did that take
and
for you?
I mean, it's been about 3 years now. So like, but like the fact that you can say that shows how much work you're doing on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and like you do, and like that's one thing that I even struggle in my current relationship now, but I'm still all in it.
Yeah.
Is like the boundaries and like what I'm willing to, you know, allow
be
or
okay with
whatever.
or not okay
And,
with.
it's like a navigation, and so it's always going to be something that you have to like work through. So just because me and him have like rocky times and he's not like within the boundaries that I think are appropriate doesn't mean that I'm like done. You know
So
what I
to
mean?
tie it back to social media too, it's when you're going through something like that, but you want to be present and open and honest, especially when I was on a TV show where the point of the show was relationships. How do you navigate that? I didn't know how to. I was like, felt like I was like dying all summer. Yet I didn't want people to know that I cared that much. But then I wanted to connect with like the girls that have been through this.
Yeah.
But then I didn't want him and his friends to see. How do you do that?
Oh my God, that sounds so
It's hard.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's like,
for
I
sure,
don't
valid.
want the girls that he's fucking to see. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to seem like
You don't want to feel
it hit
weak
me so
or
hard.
like, yeah.
But then I still wanted to be there and be myself and be open, but I didn't know how, and I couldn't, and it's such a hard
I think
place.
it's just it says a lot about who you are as a person, that you're so mindful of like how things that you do are going to affect other people and affect your life in general and affect your business and your productivity.
Mhm.
So that says a lot about you. And I mean,
I agree.
I know I'm not the only one who can tell just by sitting here with you in this room, but listening to you on this podcast, like, you have a big heart and you're a
Too
lover
big.
girl. You're a
Oh,
lover
God,
girl.
I can like
And
literally,
you're
it's
very
weighing me
well
down.
spoken too.
Thank you.
Yeah, bitch, you're a
So-
fucking boss ass bitch,
Yeah.
and you have a
Yeah.
lot to offer. And I think that you're smart, and everything that you've been through has just been, it just adds to who you are and who you are becoming. And 26 is still super young, and I do think that perfect relationships do exist, and I think you're still perfecting yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So watch this guy fall from the sky,
I'm
and it'll
hold
happen.
me to that.
Bitch, it'll happen.
It
It'll
will
happen.
happen.
You're too much of a prize for
Yeah.
it not to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that you wouldn't hold yourself to that at any point of your life. But in case you forget,
Yeah.
we will all be here to remind you.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do always in this room, whether we have guests on or not, is remind you guys that, like, regardless of what you're dealing with in your relationships or work life and trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, like, these things are ever changing. Like, life is always changing, and the way that we feel and the way we deal with certain things is always changing. And even when we do find the perfect man or the perfect relationship or the perfect job, there's still going to be issues.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in a relationship
Whole
for
different
4
type of
years
issue.
now,
Yeah.
and it's like it never ends, you know? So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of constantly wanting to perfect yourself and be better for yourself. And clearly,
Yeah.
I can tell that you are, and that's who you are to your core, is someone who wants to elevate and be better and have better
I think that
relationships.
I'm finally at the point, and like, mind you, my job was to literally have a boyfriend. So like, if I
That's
didn't have
crazy.
anything going on with men,
I
they'd
don't
be
know
like,
if I
"What
could
are you
have that
doing?"
job.
So I'm like, it's ingrained in me to like focus on relationships and boys and not be like a part of who I am. And I'm like unlearning that.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's my time to just like focus on myself. And I think like the universe knows that.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It's like I'm like,
Yeah.
the show ended when it was supposed to end. And I am literally having so much fun with my girlfriends
that
and my
for you.
guy friends. And I'm happy. And I'm finally happy that I don't have to focus on just like the next guy.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
I'm
know?
happy
I
for
want
you.
him to walk
I'm
into my
happy
life
for you
one
too.
day.
Yeah.
He will. He
Yeah.
will, for sure.
Me and Sally talk about this
Yeah.
all the time too, and it's one of those things that we're almost like too repetitive of on this podcast, but it really just has to do with you can apply it to everything in life. We're constantly unlearning and rewiring and learning new habits
Mhm.
as long as you're like a conscious human being who like wants better for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's part of it.
Just like what you were saying earlier, it's like when you get those little moments of realization of like, wow, I used to be like this.
Yeah.
unhinged.
But now I
Now
just
look
did
at
this.
me.
Like,
Even
good
if you
for
had a
me.
little
Yeah.
slip up
Even
this
if you
past
had a
weekend.
moment.
We all have slip ups.
We all
Yeah,
have
we do.
moments. Yeah.
That's
We all
for
have slip
sure.
ups.
But like
Yeah.
the thing is like to be able to like immediately recognize it and be like, wow.
I was like having a total deja vu moment during that too. I was in like a sports bar. I never go to sports bars. It was like, I was like, am I in
Was
college?
it a Sunday? Or you said it was a Saturday?
We were watching a fight.
Oh,
I never watch
okay.
fights.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I
we
love
all
the
have slip
fights.
ups.
Aggressive energy.
I
in
still
there.
have moments where I'm like, you know, thinking about an ex and like it just happens.
Sometimes
like,
it's just boredom, girl. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
sometimes we're just
fine.
like, we're hungry and
Yeah.
we're
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes
We're
we're
just
just
taking on a
I'm
date.
fucking weak and I want to blame something on somebody.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm gonna think about my fucking ex who did this, who fucking fuck you, you know.
Yeah.
But
It
like we
happens.
get over it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I love it. I mean, as far as just learning who you are and kind of getting to know you better, and despite what people see on social media, like, I really want to preface this, like, no matter how many followers you have or how you present yourself on these apps, like, no one truly knows you until they get to sit down and like
Yeah.
just peel off the layers with you.
Yeah.
And that's across the board for anyone doing anything in life. And I think that I'm happy that we have you here right now so you can show people a little bit more of who Juliette
Give them a
is.
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
They
Because
want
you're
more.
great.
Oh God, today's been such an emotional day.
Maybe this will open new doors for Juliette.
I think it
and,
will.
Like, who knows?
I think
where
you're
this
capable
brand's
of a
gonna
lot,
go.
and your brand is obviously like successful as it is right now. But I'm sure this is for the long haul. You know, like
Yeah.
it's only gonna get bigger and better. And
Yeah, my brand's not going anywhere.
Period.
That's for
Shout
sure.
out JMP the label. Go buy your
Yes,
swimsuit now.
check it out, guys. JMP the label, Instagram. You can go
maybe
on
we
our
could do like
website.
a 10% off Sunday service code
Let me
for
set
the
that up.
people who are listening
Let
to
me
the
set that
podcast.
up with my
Period.
We have some
team.
time. We have some time.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I'm just so happy to get to know you, and I
Yeah.
think that you're
Yes,
amazing,
thanks
and
for
I think that our
coming. Thank you so
followers are
much
gonna
for
love
having
this.
us.
Yeah,
Guys,
of course.
Such a good talk. I'm surprised I didn't cry.
No.
Who knows? There might be
Which is
like
good. That's
a part
also-
two.
Part 2, but like normally I cry, so I'm getting better.
I'm proud of you.
keep
No, we
that.
love that.
I love a crier, so like I kind of like wish
I
you
love a
did.
crier,
Yeah, 'cause
too.
if I see
Sometimes
other
I
people
wanna
crying,
cry.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, why
I'll
didn't
probably
I
cry when I get home.
Yeah, I love seeing other people. No, well, not crying, but like letting their walls down,
Yeah.
and being
Yeah.
vulnerable. And
It's therapeutic.
yeah, I think to just kind of wrap up this conversation here and leave it on a high note. Obviously, just being here and sitting on this couch and me getting to know you and Sally just hopefully makes you feel comfortable to like open up to me and whoever's listening with us today. But maybe we'll do a part 2 where we dive deeper into our whys and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Sunday
yes,
service therapy.
that's really
This
what
is
we
why
are
we
to our
did
core.
this.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, I think that it
Let's
would
get
be
it on
really
the
good.
calendar.
Let's get it on the calendar. Thank you for coming
Yes.
and chilling with us. We're so
Thank
happy.
you.
And you will definitely be seeing more of Juliette soon. Thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we'll see you on next week of the Sunday
See you
Service
next
Podcast.
week.
Bye, guys.